it's Siobhan again, on the back of a conversation I had with a property investor just starting out who was literally freaking out because of the valuation of her property. She didn't know what it was going to be valued at. I thought I would share my thoughts on this with you because I'm sure she's not the only person who feels this way. So this was the situation. She bought her property and she'd done all her research and she had an idea of what her property will be valued at. She's bought it, she's refurbed it, and she's in the process of releasing equity from her house. So she's waiting for the surveyor to come out, assess, and get the report back. So she's freaking out because of the valuation. And my words to her was that she's done her research. She's not going to have a particular figure or an exact, precise figure of what the valuation is going to be because that is out of her control. But she should have a firm idea based on her due diligence. So for those of you who think that you can completely control the process, just let go of that. I encourage you to acknowledge parts of the property investing process that you can control and other parts that are beyond your control. When it comes to what your house is worth or what it's going to be worth, a house is only worth what someone is willing to pay for it at the end of the day, and what people pay for that property can determine how much properties are worth on the road. Okay, so you can't control whether someone's going to accept. If you were to sell a property, for example, you can't control whether they're going to pay for that or not. Someone's either going to pay for it or they're not. Now, if for those of you who are renting properties, again, you cannot control what conclusion the surveyor is going to come to in terms of the value of your house, but you will know that it will be worth between X and Y because you've done your due diligence. So you've done your research, you've gone online, you've had a look at the houses that have sold on the road and in the near area, and you know how much those properties have gone for because you've made your comparables. You're not comparing apples with oranges. If you're looking at a detached house, you're comparing it with detached houses. If you're looking at terrace houses with one reception room, you're comparing it with terrace houses with one reception room, and so on and so forth. And because of that, you know how much your house is going to go for, roughly. So don't freak out about it. What you can do for those of you who are trying to release equity from your property, so you're refinancing your house and the surveyor's coming out to ultimately go back to the bank and say, yeah, it's, all this work's been done and for that reason I think it's worth this. There are certain things that you can do that may make have a positive impact on the valuation. So one of the things that you can do is get the valuer or get the surveyor or refinance your property while it's still fresh, rather than buying your property, completing, refurbing it, getting the tenant in, and then refinancing it after. It makes a difference. Think about it from your point of view as a person who wants to either a place to rent or a place to buy. What's going to wow you more? Is it going to wow you, the person that someone's living there, they've got their dog running around the house and they've got, grease stains in the kitchen from all the cooking that they've been doing and they haven't kept on top of the cleaning? Is that going to wow you compared to going into a house that seems freshly refurbed? You might even been able to smell the paint maybe a little bit. You can tell, not that it's toxic and overwhelming, but you can tell that this is fresh, everything's tidy. You haven't got anything in the property, so you can envision where you're going to put your wardrobe and where you're going to put your settee, where your TV is going to go, things like that. What's going to wow you more? So the surveyor is also human, and they are going to look at that in the same way. Now, this is not to say that a valuation is based purely on how a house looks, because that's not correct and it's not what I'm trying to say. But if a valuer comes in and, you know, it looks more pleasing to the eye and they get like a, you know, a wow experience, then, you know, that experience is going to leave positive thoughts rather than, oh, this is grimy, or it's just another rental property, or, you know, it's just a standard property. So letting them come in at that earlier stage, you know, it might, I'm not saying this is a must, but it might give them a bit of a different experience. The other thing that you can do is when they do come to the property, speak to them. So just develop a bit of a relationship with them. Don't interfere with what they're doing. Don't necessarily literally like follow them like a bad smell around the house, but, you know, you can start off the conversation by saying, have you got a lot on today? Have you got a lot of houses to see? Oh, you know, drop in there that you are a property investor. Maybe it's the first time that you're speaking to a surveyor. So just ask them, you know, how do you guys actually go about doing this? And do you enjoy your job? And just make conversation, see where it goes, see if you can find any common grounds with the person so that you can speak with. I had a surveyor that came out to one of our properties before, and unfortunately we were the last people that he was seeing, and he was going to go to a funeral. Now that wasn't a common ground, but that was my opportunity to be, you know, to be empathetic, ask a few more questions, ask them if they're okay, things like that. And like I said, although it wasn't a good circumstances that I was starting the conversation with, or we were having a conversation on, clearly they wanted to talk. He was upset. And I think me just, you know, not even necessarily being pushy with, you know, what he's doing in the house, but developing that it was a bit of a connection, and we got a good valuation out of it. And I don't want you to think that this is the reason why, because there are a lot of other factors that go into it. But if the valuer leaves the property and they're frustrated or they're just not interested, they're more likely to downgrade your property. So try and develop a bit of a conversation with them when they're there. The other thing that we do is we create a pack for them as well. Now, when you do this pack, basically you are demonstrating to them that you've done your research. But what you're not doing is trying to tell them how to do their job, because they will do their research as well. They've got the skills that they need to make that decision, to make the judgment, to assess the property, to know what the value is, and they will have, you know, they're fully trained, they're qualified to do that. So what you're not trying to do by giving them this pack is telling them how to do their job. You're not trying to insult these people. But it's just about, you know, the experience. They may go out and see, I don't know, they may go out and see 10 plus properties in a day. And for you to be memorable and for them to easily be able to remember your property, they can refer back to the pack. They may have forgotten something and it's in the pack. And, you know, it's just another way of, you know, giving them an experience, giving them a like, oh, that's useful, or oh, no one's ever done this for me before. So it's just another way to make yourself memorable. In saying that, you know, none of this is a must. This is just something that we do, and ultimately it's not the deciding factor for your valuation. This is something that is, like I said, it's beyond your control. But all you can do is make sure that you've done your research, you've made your comparables, you're solid, you're certain on your numbers, you haven't over-analysed it to the point where you've done the work and then you've talked yourself out of it. Don't be too hard on yourself. Do your research, you've got your numbers, you know what you're doing, and leave the rest to fate. It's just, you know, you've identified the risk, you know what the best case scenario is, the worst case scenario, the most likely case scenario is when with your valuation, because you've done your numbers, you know your research. So don't worry about it, just get on with it. I really hope that's helped somebody. If you liked what you heard, hit the like button and press subscribe and the notification bell so you can be aware every time that I upload. If there's anything else that you want me to discuss, reach out, comment below, or just email us at hello@hamiltonpropertypartners.com, and I will be sure to read that and I will listen. Until the next time, take it easy. Bye.